Hey everybody. This is not my normal time, and I really wasn't planning on doing this tonight. I just slapped this up because you know what? I wanted to hang out with y'all. It's been a crazy day, and I have not gotten the opportunity to catch up on what is going on with the Diddy trial today. Let's jump in and check some of this out, shall we? Here we go. We're going to Diddy land. Oh, that sounds breakdown
Everybody,
of the
welcome
day.
back to Behind the Bar, day 7 of the Diddy trial. So much
Day
happened today.
7.
Cassie took the stand for a second full day of direct testimony.
So look, you guys, like when he says day 7, he's also including those days last week where they did the whole jury selection thing and everything. We're really like what 3 days into the actual meat and potatoes. The 3 days into the actual, opening statements and all of that.
Testimony being she was asked questions by the prosecution for another full day. The defense is going to get their chance to cross-examine her starting tomorrow. Today, for the prosecution, was all about connections of Diddy to the freak-offs and of the power that he allegedly held over her. As part of that, what the defense is trying to set up is some sort of an argument that she in some way consented. She could have left at any time. That's what the defense is saying. There were a lot of comments yesterday saying that Derek and I were somehow signing on to this idea that a woman who continues to go back to an abusive boyfriend is somehow consenting. Not at all the case. As a matter of fact,
Yeah, because that would be some scumbag ass shit to say, to be honest. I know a lot of girls and guys who've been in abusive relationships, and it's a cycle that's really easy to get stuck in. Now, there is a point at which you are responsible to make the hard decision and get yourself out. But when you think about this situation with Cassie, she was scared for her physical well-being. Diddy went around and threatened any dude she talked to. He allegedly blew up Kid Cudi's car. Her career was entirely stuck on Diddy, and he got her, from her testimony, strung out on drugs. So, I mean, there's a lot more that goes behind that. So I'm glad that he made that clarification because I know a lot of people have been talking about that. Somebody asked how long this trial is supposed to be. They're anticipating they have blocked out 8 weeks for it. And it could go longer than that. It could be shorter than that. But this is the second day of Cassie testimony. And Cassie's the key witness here. Cassie's like the coup de grace of this whole situation.
there's a ton of scientific literature out there that suggests just the opposite, that frequently a woman who's a victim of domestic violence, of this kind of violence, of sexual violence, will nevertheless stay with her abuser through some sort of an emotional attachment to that person, despite the fact that they are not consenting to the activity at all. We're simply doing what we're doing here is laying out what the prosecution is going to say and laying out what the defense is going to say, because the defense, again, Derek, just needs that one witness. That was
He's right that they do just need that one witness. And what they're going for is reasonable doubt. And reasonable doubt in a case like this that's the real deal. All you need is somebody to have a reasonable doubt that she consented. But I think that they're going to bring in experts, psychologists, experts that are trauma informed to explain to the jury the effects of trauma and domestic violence and, substance dependence. The whole gamut is going to be explained to this jury.
that one juror who thinks like a troglodyte and says, well, she could have left at any time. And
that's one of my favorite words, bro. I used to call tweakers that didn't know how to act troglodytes. It's fucked up because a lot of them were my customers, and I'd be like, you're a troglodyte. I love that, bro. That's like a Cro-Mag. For those of you who don't know, that's like a Cro-Magnon, caveman-esque. Basically, it's saying that your brain is underdeveloped and you have a diminished mental capacity.
the fact she didn't leave, didn't go to the police, makes her a willing participant in all this, and therefore not guilty.
That's right. And we're trying to be balanced in our approach. We're telling you what the prosecutors need to establish to prove the elements of the offenses that they've charged Diddy with. But we're also going to tell you how the defense plans to poke holes in that theory. And in doing so, there's no endorsement one way or another. The prosecution has the burden. That's just the way criminal trials work. And Diddy's team only needs to convince one juror to say, well, you didn't prove that element, and he gets a mistrial and he's off the hook if he proves.
So here's the thing, is that they're saying that they're just going to objectively report on this. I do want to point out that they are a TMZ show. And Mark Garagos, who is strongly in the Diddy defense team, has a show with one of their other anchors there. So I would question how objective they could actually be. And I want to actually see them be objective, because it seems to me like they would have a vested interest in swaying the narrative a little bit, since somebody who is so strongly tied in with their organization at TMZ is also basically on Diddy's defense team. That's crazy, bro. Like it's a little bit crazy. I don't know exactly how much I trust anything that they're going to come up with.
An incident on a plane flight.
Yes.
During this flight, she says she was sitting next to Diddy at some point, and he took out an iPad and showed her on his iPad videos of past freak-offs. And in her mind,
And these videos, sorry, just to interrupt, these videos all featured her having sex with other men and doing all sorts of sort of
degrading
crazy,
acts.
degrading acts. Yeah.
Yes. And she at this point had already said that she was trying to communicate that she didn't want to do freak-offs anymore.
So she was telling him that she didn't want to do these crazy freak offs and let's just recap some of the stuff that happened in these freak offs. He would be sitting in the corner tugging his Tootsie Roll while she was doing stuff with male prostitutes that they hired. And to the extent of even peeing in her mouth. She said that one time she got on the stand and said that one time Diddy and the male prostitute both peed in her mouth at the same time, and that she was choking on all of the pee. Kind of sounds like drowning almost.
She had said that she had said to Diddy at some point, delete the videos. And him showing her that videos existed on his iPad, she interpreted it as a threat to release those videos, to subsequently send those out into the world, humiliate her, destroy her career, embarrass her to her family, and so forth. She says after that plane flight they got off, they went to dinner in New York. And during that dinner, Diddy said, I would like to do a freak off. Cassie, and the language she used was she felt trapped at this point. And the way prosecutors are trying to set this up is that he trapped her by the implicit threat that if she didn't continue in this lifestyle with him, which included freak offs, he would embarrass her by releasing these tapes. That
Boom. And if the jury is convinced of that, that's all that they need. If the jury believes the 9-month pregnant woman that's sitting there crying on the stand talking about this, if they believe that, that's all that they need. Anthony Gavasso said, I really want to know, why do a lot of abused victims end up going back to their abusers? Help me understand that, please. In my mind, it's like jumping back into the fire. I'm trying to understand. Well, here's the thing is, I can't speak to that from personal experience very well. And I see you saying that you've seen a lot of people give you good advice on that, but here's the thing is that, you mentally become a hostage and you trauma bond to that person, because abusers aren't abusers all the time. They'll do horrible, brutal abuse to you, and then they're going to hit you with really sweet, passionate, loving kindness. And it gives you whiplash, emotional whiplash, homie. You know what I'm saying? And it's Stockholm syndrome is a real life thing. It's a real life thing.
They would do that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. He's got very skilled lawyers. Cross does start to feel differently. If it's very effective, you can start to question people's credibility and so forth. As we've said, the last 2 days of testimony have not been softballs. It's been very emotional for her, but she has been allowed to lay out her narrative. That's what prosecutors do. They set up questions and let you talk. When you're crossed, it's a very different situation on the stand.
I just wanted to give one more quote and then we can get to your questions. When asked by the prosecution why she stayed with him, she said, and there's a quote, I feared for my career. I feared for my family. It's horrible. It's disgusting. No one should do that to anyone. I just thought that was incredible.
Anthony, did you hear that? I think that should help answer your question, buddy. At least with Cassie, maybe not with relationships in general, but with Cassie, there was so much at play. Diddy had so much of her life wrapped up that, her professional life, her financial life, her social life, the threats, bro, of possibly releasing these horrific freak off tapes, man.